I've always had a weak heart, not just physically, but emotionally as well. Throughout my life, I've been afraid of everything, even my own shadow. So when the doctors finally told me that my heart murmur wasn't just a murmur, I wasn't surprised. It took a year of endless tests and therapy, each visit to the hospital weighing me down further. But in the end, it was all for nothing. My heart, they said, wouldn't last until Christmas. At first, I didn't accept it. I was terrified, so I drowned my fear in reckless behavior. I drank too much, spent money I didn't have, and did things I'd regret later, all because the idea of dying consumed me. Then just when I thought it couldn't get worse, I got a call that would change everything. A young woman named Laura had been declared brain dead, and I, by some miracle, was chosen to receive her heart. The day before my surgery, I couldn't stop thinking about Laura. It felt wrong not to know who this person was, the one whose heart was going to keep me alive. I didn't know much, just her name and the fact that she was in a certain ward at the hospital. So I decided to visit her. I wandered down the long, empty corridors, not in any particular hurry, until I found the room I was looking for. There, in the second to last room, she lay in bed, lifeless. A woman was sitting beside her, holding her hand. I could only assume that this was her mother. My heart skipped a beat as I walked in and introduced myself, awkwardly explaining that I was the one receiving Laura's heart. Laura's mother stood up, recognizing me immediately, and with a thin, sad smile, she welcomed me. I was nervous and unsure of what to say. She told me about Laura's life, how she had been a care worker, helping battered women, always putting others before herself. Laura had met a man, someone she believed in, and tragically, he killed her. Her mother's eyes teared up as she spoke, and I felt a pang of deep sadness for this woman who had lost so much. I reached out instinctively and held Laura's cold hand, offering what little comfort I could. Then something strange happened. Laura's hand tightened around mine. It wasn't just a slight squeeze, it was a firm grip, her nails digging into my skin. I recoiled in surprise, but Laura's mother remained calm. "It's just muscle spasms," she said, but I didn't buy it. I could see the blood dripping from the crescent-shaped marks in my palm, and something about it felt off. The surgery went smoothly. I woke up in recovery, my chest aching where they had removed my old heart and replaced it with Laura's. I spent the first day drifting in and out of consciousness, floating in a haze of painkillers. Everything seemed distant, unreal. But the next day, Laura's mother came to visit. She looked much older, the weight of the last few days etched on her face. She was kind, but I could see her suffering, and it tore at my heart. We spoke for a while, and then, just as she was about to leave, I felt it again. That sharp pain in my hand, as though someone had just crushed it in their grip. I looked down and saw the same crescent-shaped bruises, but this time they were fresh, new. I was alarmed, and Laura's mother seemed concerned too. She asked if it was my heart again, but I didn't want to worry her. I assured her that everything was fine and sent her on her way. When I got home the next day, it felt surreal. My apartment, the place where I had spent the last few months preparing for death, now felt strangely empty. My life had been hanging by a thread, and now I was here, living. But something didn't feel right. Every time I placed my hand on my chest, Laura's heart beat so strongly, so firmly, it felt as if it was about to burst out of me. That night, I had a terrifying dream. Laura's body lay in her hospital bed, and her mother was nowhere to be seen. I could hear my heart, her heart, pounding in my ears, louder and faster with each passing second. As I approached her, her eyes shot open. They were white, lifeless, and her lips were blue. And then, in a voice that could only be described as guttural, she rasped, "Get out!" I woke up with a start, the sound of her heartbeat still ringing in my ears. It was so loud, so painful, that I thought my eardrums would burst. The sensation of her grip on my hand was fresh, and as I stumbled out of bed, gasping for air, I could feel her presence, like a shadow in my chest. I rushed to call someone, anyone, but there was only silence on the other end of the line. That's when I heard it again. The voice. "Get out." It was faint, almost like a whisper, but it was unmistakably Laura's voice, and it chilled me to the bone. I couldn't explain what was happening to me, but I knew it wasn't just a dream. My neighbor, startled by my screams, drove me to the hospital. After running tests, the doctors found nothing wrong with me. My heart was fine, my blood pressure normal. They told me I was perfectly healthy, but deep down I knew the truth. That heart didn't belong to me. A little while later, I received a call from the police. They told me there had been an attempted break-in at my flat. My ex, the man I had feared for years, had tried to force his way in. They had arrested him, and they believed he had planned to hurt me. If I had been home, even for a few more minutes, I wouldn't have made it out alive. I stood there stunned, processing the information. My heart, the one I had come to know so well, began to beat even stronger in my chest. Laura's heart was protecting me. I couldn't explain it, but I could feel it, deep within. As I stood there overwhelmed, I placed my hands over my chest, letting the steady rhythm of her heart calm me. Laura's mother had told me that Laura had spent her life helping others, giving her all to those in need. And now I could feel that dedication within me. She had saved my life, and somehow I was going to live it in honor of her. I'm infatuated with her, utterly infatuated, and it's not healthy, not by a long shot. I think about her all the time. Even when she's not around, I'll sit on my couch, staring at my phone, waiting for her to text. I tell myself, don't contact her. Don't. It'll be too much. She'll think you're desperate. But it doesn't matter. I'll still find myself clicking her name in my contacts, my thumb hovering over the message icon. Then that voice inside me will whisper, don't let her know how much you care. Don't let her see how badly you're smitten. It's unattractive. She'll be scared off. But the waiting, the uncertainty, it's killing me. I can't stand it. I once heard that the ancient Greeks thought falling irrationally in love was a curse you'd wish upon your enemies. I never understood it, not until now. Now I can see it. This obsession, it's a curse. It's as if my heart, my thoughts, my very being have been hijacked by this infatuation. I'm losing control. The two of us have been together for a couple of months. We're in that stage of dating, the make or break phase. We're either about to settle into something serious or we're going to drift apart. And if that happens, I don't know what I'll do. I don't think I could handle it. She's perfect. Everything about her, the way she laughs and covers her mouth, the way she twirls her hair when she's excited, the way she touches the pendant around her neck when she's nervous, her smile, her eyes, even the scent of her skin. It all drives me crazy. It probably sounds nauseating to you, right? I get it. I've never been the romantic type, but now I can't stop thinking about her, imagining our future together. I fantasize about us going on long hikes just like that first one, where we stood at the top and kissed with the city lights below us. This time, though, I'd pull out a ring. I'd ask her to marry me. I know it's too soon. I get it. I know it's crazy to think about proposals after just a couple of months of dating, but I can't help myself. My mind is slipping, and I feel like I'm losing power over my own decisions. And that brings me to why I'm writing this. Something started to trouble me, something I couldn't ignore. We'd never spent the night together. She'd always leave once it was late, no matter how comfortable we were. A kiss on the cheek, a smile, a call me soon, and she was gone. At first, I didn't think much of it, but after a couple of months, it started to seem strange. I had to ask her about it. I drank almost an entire bottle of wine to muster the courage. When I finally asked her, she looked down, almost embarrassed. She told me she'd started talking in her sleep and not just random gibberish. It's called somniloquy, she said, trying to explain. She seemed genuinely distressed. It's bad, Stephen. It's completely out of control. I say awful things in my sleep, horrible things. I tried to brush it off, assuring her it couldn't be that bad. I even told her to stay the night. I told her it was probably nothing, that she was exaggerating, but she insisted, telling me not to wake her up if it happened, not to respond. If it became too much, she said, I should just leave the room. I promised I wouldn't, but I was wrong. We went to bed that night, and everything seemed fine at first. But then I woke up, the darkness heavy around me. I felt it before I saw it, the feeling that someone was watching me. I glanced over and there she was. She was sitting up in bed staring at me. Her posture was completely wrong, not at all like how she normally was. It was like she wasn't even there. And then she spoke. But it wasn't her voice. It was deeper, gravelly, almost like something out of a horror movie. "I'll chew the skin from your bone," she said. I froze. I didn't know what to do. I expected random mutterings, but this was something else. I thought to myself, what if she really tries to hurt me? What if she's not herself anymore? And then, as quickly as it began, she lay back down and fell asleep again. I was shaken, but I tried to convince myself it wasn't real. I tried to close my eyes, but the thought of her sitting up again, staring at me, wouldn't leave me. I rolled over once, and when I looked, her face was right there. Her breath was rancid, something I'd never experienced with her. "If you don't move to the couch, you'll be dead by morning," she rasped. That was it. I couldn't stay. I rushed out of bed and made my way to the living room, my heart pounding. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't calm down. I lay there staring at the window, waiting for the first light of day. But then I heard it, that same low, gravelly voice. "Stephen." I tried to ignore it. I didn't want to respond, but it kept coming. "Stephen, I know you can hear me. Why don't you come back into the bedroom?" The voice sounded like it wasn't even human anymore. "Or maybe you'd prefer if I came to you." I didn't reply. I couldn't. I was told not to, but the voice didn't stop. "Sorry if this spoils your plans," it said, almost laughing. "The two of you were supposed to walk that trail again. You'd be so tired when you reached the top. Then you'd look out at the city and you'd get down on one knee. And then," the voice laughed again. And that's when I realized it. This wasn't just sleep talking. This was something much worse. She couldn't have known about my fantasy. There's no way she could have known about the proposal I'd been imagining. This wasn't her. This was something else. I can't go back to the bedroom. I don't know what would happen if I did. I'm too scared. Now I'm stuck here on the couch, waiting for the sun to rise. I can hear her laughing, that same low, eerie laugh. But the thing that scares me the most is this. Maybe my obsession with her wasn't just infatuation. Maybe it wasn't normal. Maybe this thing inside her, the thing that's been controlling her, has been slowly taking control of me too. And once it's done, once it fully takes me, she'll be free of it. I should leave. I should open the door, get in my car and drive far away. But I can't. I can't leave her. I've already lost control. I'm infatuated with her. Utterly infatuated. My husband, Rick, went missing 6 months ago. One day he just disappeared. The police couldn't find anything, and after a while I accepted he wasn't coming back. Then 1 week ago, he came home. I was in the garden when I heard the gate creak. There he was, standing in the yard, looking the same as the day he vanished. When I asked where he had been, he couldn't remember. Everyone else is overjoyed, but I'm terrified. Something's wrong. I'm sure this man isn't Rick. Here's why. The first morning he came back, he added sugar to his tea. Rick always hated sugar in his tea. He also didn't care about a golf tournament recording on TV, something he'd never miss. At night, I woke up to find him staring at me with blank eyes, saying, "Sorry, honey, sometimes I just can't believe this is real." At a street party, he played with Jackson, the toddler next door, which isn't like him at all. He hated kids. This morning, Sally came over with brownies. Afterward, I called her a nosy busybody, and Rick laughed, agreeing with me. He always defended her before, even though she'd been having an affair with him. I know what you're thinking. Maybe Rick had an accident or something caused memory loss. But there's one thing that proves this isn't Rick. He doesn't have the scar. Rick had a scar from the golf club I hit him with before he disappeared. But this man has no scar. I'm tempted to dig up my petunias just to make sure he's still under there. I don't know what I'm sharing a bed with, but it's not my husband. So what do I do now? My husband, Rick, went missing 6 months ago. One day he left for work and just didn't come back. It was a nightmare. We lived in a quiet suburban neighborhood, one where nothing out of the ordinary ever happens. And his disappearance shocked everyone. The police launched an investigation, and search parties scoured the area, but there were no signs of him. As the weeks turned into months, the updates from the police became fewer, the missing posters were taken down, and the grief slowly settled in. I had to accept that Rick wasn't coming back. And then, 1 week ago, he did. I was in the garden watering my petunias when I heard the garden gate creak open. I turned around, and there he was, standing in the yard, exactly as he had been the day he disappeared. Same blonde hair, same blue eyes, same smile. I froze. The weight of the moment hit me like a ton of bricks. Our families had mourned him, and now there he was, standing before me as though he'd just stepped out for a quick errand. I asked him where he had been, and he said he didn't know. He couldn't remember a single thing from the last 6 months. The return of Rick brought joy to our families. Everyone was so relieved, so happy they could hardly believe it. But the truth is, I don't. I'm terrified. I know it sounds insane, but I'm certain this man is not my husband. He looks like Rick. He talks like Rick. But the man who stands in my kitchen doesn't act like him. He doesn't enjoy the same things Rick did. He doesn't talk like Rick used to. He doesn't complain. He doesn't argue. He doesn't gaslight me. Frankly, he's a better husband than Rick ever was. Part of me wants to just accept it. Let it go. Move on. But every time I try, something gnaws at me, reminding me that I can't ignore what I know. Because if this man is truly Rick's replacement, he must know that Rick is dead. And if he knows that, then I'm willing to bet he also knows exactly how he died. A couple of people suggested that Rick might have a twin or a doppelganger, someone who decided to take advantage of the situation and slip into Rick's life. It seemed plausible, so I decided to investigate. I ordered 2 DNA tests designed to trace family history and relatives. I wasn't about to ask Rick for a sample, so I waited until he was asleep and snuck a few strands of his hair. It wasn't much, but it was enough for the test. For 2 weeks, I waited in dread, and in that time, things got stranger. I noticed that Rick never eats unless I mention that I'm hungry. He'll make dinner for us both, but it's more about when I mention I need food than any kind of real appetite of his own. He never snacks, never gets a glass of water. He doesn't even take lunch to work. His beard trimmer, which used to be part of his regular grooming routine, is still sitting in its box, untouched, covered in dust. Rick used to trim his beard twice a week, but now weeks have gone by, and his beard hasn't grown at all. The staring has also become more frequent. It's not just at night anymore. I catch him staring at me during the day too. When I notice, he quickly looks away or laughs it off, but it's unsettling. A week after my last post, the DNA test came back. The first test was inconclusive. The company said the sample wasn't viable, and I didn't understand why. I had taken the sample myself, so what went wrong? But it was the second test that sent chills down my spine. The results were worse than I could have imagined. There was no demographic or regional information. The report simply read, unknown, but it didn't stop there. The most disturbing part was the complete absence of any relatives. The test didn't list any family members or ancestors. Not just that, it claimed this man had no biological connections to anyone. No family, no ancestry. How can someone exist with no family? No relatives at all? How is that even possible? I sat in my study staring at the test results in disbelief. I was surrounded by open browser tabs, desperately searching for any explanation. Then I heard it, clear as day from the doorway behind me. Rebecca. I froze. I knew that voice. I didn't hear him come in, didn't hear the door open, but the voice, the one I knew so well, was unmistakable. My heart skipped a beat. I turned, and there he was, Rick, standing in the doorway. His face was calm, but there was something off about the way he looked at me, something cold in his expression. "What the hell is this?" he asked, his voice unnervingly level. But there was an undertone in his voice, a low, almost grating quality I hadn't noticed before. It wasn't Rick's voice. And then he held up the DNA test results. When I saw what he was holding, my stomach dropped. This was no longer just a question of who was in my house. It was a question of what this man really wanted and what he was capable of.